14 hours before the assassination of Jang Bok-chul, Ryu discovered a familiar name on the murder list, and he said, Ju Sung-taek? Did this guy join Player Haven too? The name and the age matched perfectly, but the nickname was slightly different. And seeing that the ranking written down was also different, it seemed he had slightly changed the information before he joined. Ryu added, that explains why Ju Sung-taek wasn't in the executive positions. In fact, Ju Sung-taek was a top player, ranking second or third in the entire region. And if he had been an executive, they would have met long before. But since he faked his information, it was natural they hadn't met until now. Then Ryu said, looking at the date of joining, it seems he signed up a long time ago. Did he just join and not participate? Searching the forum, there were no posts or comments from him. It seemed he had quietly passed the murder interview and stayed silent. Ryo said, this guy obviously deserves to die, but there's still some use for him. After glancing over the list again, Ryo saw a nickname that seemed familiar. Name, Hong Soon Ah. Nickname, Puffy Cheek Bun. Age, 22. Occupation, actress. Suddenly, Seo Arin came to mind. She was the same age and she was also an actress. Ryu said if they worked on the same projects, they could have been close. So should I search for her? Typing in Hong Suna on the internet brought up several articles. Actress Hong Suna, the survivor of Round 8, her charm of many colors. Hong Suna, Seo Arin, Gu Yeon-sung, Jang Bok-chul, among popular celebrity players, survived this round too. Hong Soon-ah confirmed to appear on the show Players. Excitement grows for what role she will play. Seeing that, Ryu said, to think she could boldly continue her entertainment activities even after passing Player Haven's murder test. She must have thrown her conscience into the trash. In fact, only the executives knew about the murder test. And as long as the executives kept their mouths shut, it wouldn't become public knowledge. Player Haven wouldn't expose it either, as it would be like spitting on their own face. Ryu said angrily, despite all of that, she dares to be active. Then Ryu clicked his tongue as he looked up Hong Suna's Instagram for some information. Among various photos, there was one with Seo Arin, and he said, just looking at the photo, they seem quite close. The rest were photos with friends. Among them, Ryu Min paid special attention to one photo. It was a recent photo taken with male actors in front of a club, captioned, a shot with close-in colleague actors at a club I frequently visit. From the left, Junior Ju Ji-sung, Senior Gu Yeon-sung, Senior Jang Bok-chul, Junior Kang Soo-hyun. Had fun today as always? Ryu inquired. Colleague actors? And he felt that these names he had seen somewhere. Just in case, he reviewed the murder list again. He compared the names of people whose occupation was an actor. Ryu sighed, as every single one of them was a Player Haven member, and he said, birds of a feather flock together. So all the remaining famous actors are Player Haven members, committing crimes such as murder, rape, and abetting, yet shamelessly living as if they were stars, and under the guise of celebrities, receiving the spotlight. Unable to hide his astonishment, Ryu checked each actor's Instagram. They really were close, evidenced by numerous photos together. And Ryu said, they're close actors and also Player Haven members? Something smells fishy. What could murderers gather together to do? Could they be conspiring for other crimes? Upon further investigation, he discovered a common link. They all have photos taken at the same club. Looking at the photos taken at the same club, Ryu grabbed his coat, and he said, there was definitely a stench, and if I visited the club, more would surely come out. His brother asked, Hyung, where are you going? Ryu replied, just stepping out for a bit. He inquired, at this hour? After nodding, he left his younger sibling behind and opened the front door. And he said, go to bed first, I might get back late. The location of the club wasn't far, and driving his Lamborghini for 20 minutes, he arrived. Finding the club seen on Instagram, Ryu was immediately disappointed. He had expected a bouncer checking attire like in the movies, but there was none. Not even a bouncer. The club's door was locked. Ryu inquired, what? The club isn't open at this peak hour? It was definitely suspicious. Looking around the building, he found a back door which was also locked, and he said, I can hear people inside despite the doors being locked front and back. Suspicious, very suspicious. And he added, if there had been a window, I would have broken in, but the club was underground. How to enter? Why overthink it? Then he simply forced the door open. Then, using invisibility, he entered unseen. And wearing the ghost walk boots, his footsteps made no sound. The club was quiet and not in operation, but there were definitely people inside. Ryu walked towards the presence detected by his skill, but suddenly, as if the person had a detection skill, he looked towards Ryu. Ryu immediately moved out of the 30-meter range. The person said, "Strange, is it my imagination?" As no one was visible or felt, the man tilted his head and walked again. Ryu said to himself, "That actor must be Juji Sung." Recognizing the face, Ryu frowned and said, "This is frustrating. Everyone has detection skills now, making it hard to approach properly." And he realized anew that invisibility wasn't a great skill. And he said, "Until I get the rune of stealth, there's nothing I can do about this." But he would fortunately obtain the rune of stealth in round 9. Thinking this, he carefully followed Juji Sung, maintaining a 31-meter distance to avoid detection. Walking down the corridor, they soon encountered 3 people coming out of a room, faces he had memorized. Ryu inquired, "Their names were Gu Yon Sung, Jang Bok Chul, Kang Soo Hyun, right?" Having read their minds, he had obtained the crucial information. And he said, "These guys are planning to kill Seo Arin." Ryu hadn't expected Seo Arin to be involved. And he said, "Just curious investigation led to this. Were there only trash around Seo Arin?" And Seo Arin probably didn't know that she would be backstabbed by an actress she considered a close friend, Hong Suna. And she'll find out tomorrow how foolish it is to trust such people. In fact, even colleagues would stab you in the back for survival in this world. As a player who had gone through 99 rounds, Ryu had seen such scenes countless times. Then Ryu smiled and said, "Anyway, this is an opportunity, a chance to gain Seo Arin's definite favor. And if you ask, what would happen if he saved Seo Arin under the guise of the Black Scythe? Ryu could completely make her his own, as men can be controlled using Yamti, but that enchantment doesn't work on women. That was why he didn't kill these men and turned away." And he added, "It's better to sweep them when they're all together. Killing them now won't make Seo Arin appreciate my efforts." Of course, gaining Seo Arin's favor might not always lead to positive outcomes, and it's not guaranteed to only have positive effects. But Ryu couldn't just ignore it, and this opportunity was too precious to give to Heavenly Demon. Then Ryu said, "It's better if I save her than Heavenly Demon." Currently, they were allies, but Heavenly Demon could become a stumbling block for Ryu, and if Heavenly Demon and Seo Arin became close, it could become troublesome later. Leaving the club, Ryu awaited the dawn, and he said, "Tomorrow, if I tail that woman Hong Suna, I can catch the perfect timing." 14 hours later, present time. And when they saw the black scythe in Ryu's hand, the place fell silent. Then one inquired, Is that a scythe? Could it be Black Scythe?" Some actors shook their heads, denying reality, and said, "Nah, it can't be. Why would Black Scythe show up here?" Another said, "Yeah, just because he has a scythe doesn't mean he's that guy." The 2 actors who were talking released Seo Arin and stepped forward. These were Gu Yun Sung's loyal dogs, and one shouted, "Hey, you bastard! How did you get in here? Did you kill Bokchul, huh?" Ryu sighed and murmured, "Seems you haven't grasped the situation yet," he shouted. "Son of a bitch, you dare to sigh in front of us? You'll die!" With a single movement in the darkness, Ryu's scythe flowed, and the heads of the 2 actors slid off as if butter. Just like that, in a moment, the 2 were reduced to corpses. The remaining actors recoiled in horror, panic written all over their faces. Seo Arin was no exception, and she asked herself, Is that really Black Scythe? For real?" His voice differed, making her skeptical, but Seo Arin couldn't deny it, and the figure who appeared like a white knight was indeed the Black Scythe she knew. Then Ryu pointed his scythe at the remaining ones and said, "This is really annoying, so just come at me all at once, and don't even think about playing tricks. Anyway, not a single one of you will leave this place alive." In the tense situation, Gu Yon Sung gulped down his saliva, and he said to himself, "Damn, what's this situation? Where did it all go wrong exactly?" He had never faced such a crisis during his spree of killing 32 actors, but now he's facing Black Scythe, the monster who had topped the rankings in every zone throughout the 8 rounds and had just reached level 80 is suddenly in front of him. For Gu Yon Sung, it was inconceivable. It was like throwing bait to catch a fish, only to hook a shark instead. Then he said to himself, Is it really Black Scythe? Just because he carries a scythe doesn't mean he's the Black Scythe, right? Doubt crossed his mind, but it was fleeting. And seeing the cleanly severed heads of two actors, Gu Yon-sung thought that the man in front of him might really be Black Scythe. And he said to himself, I didn't even see him swing. I didn't hear the sound of a neck being cut. This meant that the attacker's agility stats were high enough to make his attack invisible, and his damage was way superior. A single swing was enough to feel the gap between them. It's like heaven and earth. The level is just incomprehensible. Realizing the extent of his opponent's skills, Gu Yon-sung's brain began to work rapidly, and he immediately knelt down and began his act of begging for his life. Please, spare me. I didn't do anything. Then Gu Yon-sung pointed his fingers at the other actors and said, It was all them. They made me do it. Caught off guard by this sudden betrayal, Hong Sun-ah and the other 4 male actors were dumbfounded. One said, What are you talking about, Gu Sr.? Why are you blaming us? It was all because you told us to do it. Another said, Black Scythe. Don't believe this dirty bastard. We were just following orders, but this bastard is the real mastermind. Enraged by their words, Gu Yon-sung abruptly stood up and said, What? What did you just say? Bastards? Is that how you speak to your senior, you little shit? One said. So what about you? Selling out your juniors to save your own skin? Is that what a senior does? You fucking bastard? He shouted. What? You're really asking for death? Then Gu Yon-sung raised his wand as if he were about to cast a spell, and the actors exchanged glares as if they were about to kill each other. It was an utter mess. However, this was exactly what Gu Yon-sung had intended, and he said to himself, Good! This will make it look like a real internal conflict, and this would make any onlookers let their guard down. Glancing over, he saw the Black Scythe, shaking his head at their petty squabbles as if it was pathetic. Then Gu Yon-sung raised his wand as if to attack a junior and shouted, Fucking hell, you bastards really want to die? Then he suddenly changed direction, aiming a skill at Black Scythe's face, and shouted Black Arrow. Normally, he would restrain his enemies with black chains before shooting a black arrow, but this was a surprise attack, leaving no time for binding, and he said to himself, Even Black Scythe can't survive a headshot. Got it! It hit him right in... But suddenly Gu Yon-sung's face froze in a moment of triumph, as the arrow he thought had hit had missed its target by a hair's breadth, striking the wall instead. And he said to himself, to dodge it in that split second? It was an insane reflex. The actors witnessing this could only widen their eyes in disbelief.